Episode 8. Happy Mindful Thanksgiving.
Welcome to Not Really Hungry, the podcast that explores how to eat mindfully, lose weight, and change your life. Now here's your host, Tanya Blankenship.
Hey guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit about Thanksgiving. It's right around the corner, and I know it is a really stressful time for a lot of people, and a lot of people end up overeating and then feeling bad about that, and it's just a big vicious cycle. So I just wanted to throw out some of my ideas and suggestions. You know, you can take it or leave it, but these are the things that I think might help you going into the holiday season. So first of all, I'm sure you have all heard people say, it's called a holiday, not a holiweek. It's only one day, right? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is only one day, but we all know it's not one day. Yeah, the feast is one day, but there's so much going on around the holidays. You know, there's the stress of planning it and shopping and cooking all the food, and then who's going to which house, and how are we going to see this side of the family and that side of the family, and how many desserts are going to be there, and oh, are they going to want to talk about politics again, and oh, I have to deal with, my step cousin that I don't really like, or whatever it is. The holidays can be amazing and fun and fantastic family time, but they can also be super stressful and overwhelming, and a lot of people don't even enjoy them because of all the stress and overwhelm that comes with it. So I guess that's my first tip, and I know this is going to sound like, yeah, right. But my first tip is just relax. Try not to make it such a big deal or so important that everything goes right. I feel like I used to be a perfectionist, and I have come so far in that. And sometime in the past few years, I guess probably it started before Landon was born, but especially now that I have Landon, I've just decided that I want the holidays to be fun, relaxing family time. I do not want any of the holidays to be rush, rush, rush and stress and, oh, my house isn't perfect, and oh, the dessert I made didn't turn out perfect, and all of that. I have just fully embraced my imperfection, and I've decided that people can take it or leave it, because you know what? The people that matter don't mind, and the people that do mind shouldn't matter. Seriously, if someone is going to judge me because my windowsills are dusty, or because I'm not Martha Stewart and didn't bake an amazing dessert, well, then those are probably not people I want to spend my limited time with anyway. And again, I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, it took me a long time, but I feel like so much of the stress and anxiety and overwhelm that we deal with is self-imposed, because we feel like we need to have the Pinterest perfect holiday and we need everything to be exactly right. And honestly, wouldn't it be boring if everything was perfect? I mean, life is messy and sometimes happy and sometimes terrible, but I wouldn't want it to be predictable and boring every day. So just try to remind yourself you're going to be with loved ones, and things don't have to be perfect. Your family would much rather you have fun and enjoy the holiday than stress about every little detail. So don't feel like you have to put on a show for anyone or make things look a certain way. Just do your best and enjoy it. The other thing is, when it comes to the actual day, the actual Thanksgiving feast, it's known that people just pig out, overeat, and take a nap, right? That it's completely accepted. It's completely normal. No one thinks it's weird. And I'm not saying that it's horrible if you overeat at one meal. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, why is it necessary? Why do you enjoy the holiday more if you're so full that you're sick and you have to unbutton your pants? Does that really add to the enjoyment of your day? I would argue that it does not. And we get it in our heads that, we have to eat everything because we only get it once a year. But I'd be willing to bet that you don't really like everything that's served at the Thanksgiving dinner that you're at. And there's probably things that you like more than other things. And there's probably some things that you do get other times throughout the year. Like, let's say you're having mashed potatoes. And I mean, you could get mashed potatoes any day of the week at any restaurant. You could make mashed potatoes at home. You can buy Bob Evans mashed potatoes that are pretty darn close to homemade. So that might be something that you don't have to eat at Thanksgiving. So my point is that I want you to enjoy the holiday. Absolutely. And I want you to have your favorites, and I want you to enjoy that meal and savor every bite. But when we eat everything in sight and we stuff ourselves, we're not really enjoying it. And I read something that it's like the first 2 or 3 bites of something taste the best. And then after that, you're not really tasting it so much as you are remembering the taste of those first few bites. I don't know how true that is. I don't know the science, but it does seem to be true. The more that I have started having smaller portions and eating more mindfully and being more aware of how I feel when I'm eating different things. Like the last time I had a donut, I easily could have stopped after a few bites. I didn't even finish it. By the time I got so far in, it was like the sugar and the filling and everything was just like too much. And I'm not trying to say like, yay me, I'm awesome because I don't need to eat a donut. But my point is just that eating huge volumes of something doesn't make it taste better and doesn't make you enjoy it more. So pick out what your favorites are and really enjoy them. Start with a small plate or maybe just smaller than what you would normally do. Eat it and enjoy it, and then wait. Wait 10 minutes. Sit there and talk to your family, enjoy your kids playing or enjoy the pretty plates or decorations that are out. Whatever it is, just really try to enjoy the environment and the time together. And don't make it all about the food. And then after 10 or 15 minutes, see how you feel. If you're still hungry, eat something else, absolutely. But so often we don't stop and check in. And then by the time we stop, we literally can barely move. And we're like, oh, somebody roll me away from the table. And again, no judgment. If that's what you want to do, your prerogative. But I just want to challenge you to think about it in a different way and to ask yourself, how is that adding to my enjoyment of the holiday by overeating that much, right? The other thing to think about is that chances are there's going to be some real yummy desserts at Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pie is one of my favorites, and I definitely want to save room for that. If you're not hungry when you're eating, it's not as enjoyable, and you don't really know when to stop, because if you start when you're not hungry, then there's no cue telling you that you're no longer hungry because you weren't hungry in the first place. So I'm not saying that you need to be, ravenous to eat a piece of pumpkin pie. Come on. Everyone's probably going to have pie after their Thanksgiving meal. I'm just saying, I don't want that pie to be the tipping point that puts me at feeling sick. The 4 on the hunger scale is sick. I definitely don't want to be there. So I would much rather have a reasonable portion of my food and then be able to enjoy the heck out of the pie. So just keep that in mind. Some people don't have their desserts right away, that, you have your meal and you go and clean up and do whatever, and then you have your pie later. And that's cool too. We've done that before. And I will tell you that if that's the way that it rolls, or if that's the way that the schedule ends up happening, I probably won't be hungry when I eat my pie, but I'm going to have one piece and stop because I know that's all I need. And I'm going to eat it slowly and enjoy every bite of it. I think sometimes we get it in our heads that, oh, it's a holiday, I'm going to eat whatever I want. And I agree that you should eat whatever you want. But oftentimes when we say eat whatever I want, what we really mean is eat everything in sight until I'm sick. And that's not the same thing. I feel like I eat whatever I want all the time. I mean, I'm the one that chooses what goes on my meal plans. I'm the one that chooses how much goes in my mouth. So saying eat whatever I want, implies that I'm somehow restricted other times. And I don't feel like we should approach it that way. So I agree you should eat what you want and enjoy it, but I don't agree that that means that we need to eat as much food as possible at one sitting. I don't think volume is what makes it better. So I don't want this to sound like I'm being preachy or trying to tell you what to do or not do on your holiday. because again, I don't have all the answers for sure. I'm still a work in progress, but I just know from the social events and things that I have been involved in over the past 6 months, I feel like I've really learned how to manage my eating in those types of situations. And I don't think holidays will be that different. The thing that probably will be different is that you will probably be at someone's house, whether it's your house or you go to someone's house, and there will probably be food out all day long because it's never just the meal, right? Like usually there's something out before the meal, some kind of appetizer or cheese and crackers or something like that. And then, like we talked about already, there's going to be desserts all over the place. And that in itself can be more challenging because just being around that food all day long when you normally wouldn't surround yourself with food all day long, that can be a challenge. Absolutely. So to prepare for that before the day comes, I want you to think about the day, think about how you want to approach it. How much do you want to eat? Which foods do you want to eat? How do you want to feel when you're done eating? Do you want to feel comfortable, able to go and take a walk? Or do you want to feel sick, like you need to go take a nap? Whatever it is, I want you to think about those things ahead of time and then really try to come up with a virtual image of the day. Like most of us usually do the same thing every year for Thanksgiving, right? So think about Thanksgivings in the past and things that have been hard. Do you have food pushers in your family, or do you just know that there's some dish that you only get once a year that's going to be super yummy and, that might be hard not to overeat? Whatever the triggers might be for you, really try to come up with a plan ahead of time. If you know for sure that there's going to be snacks out everywhere, maybe you don't hang out in the kitchen. Maybe you make sure you take your own favorite tea or coffee so that you have something that you're doing that will maybe take the edge off wanting to eat. The other thing is, if everyone literally just sits around and eats, maybe you can be the one to suggest a different activity. We used to play board games as a family after the meal, and that was something I looked forward to every year. We did that at Christmas, I think, not Thanksgiving, but same concept, same group of people. Maybe you can suggest a different activity that doesn't involve eating or that gets your hands busy to take your mind off of it. Because honestly, there's no way that all that eating that we do on Thanksgiving is hunger. And we know it isn't, but it's habit and everyone else is doing it and we're surrounded by it. And sometimes it's stress and you're potentially in an uncomfortable environment depending on your family dynamic. So I totally get it. But think about those things ahead of time about what might make you uncomfortable and how you would like to deal with it. And you'll be much more ready when the time comes to go in and handle it the way you want to. And that's the thing that I want you guys to really understand is that I'm not saying, you shouldn't overeat or you shouldn't have pie or you shouldn't do this. What I'm saying is I want you to have the kind of holiday that you want to have. And I think so often we just throw up our hands and say, well, it's too hard. I can't have a healthy lifestyle at the holidays, or, they're going to make me feel uncomfortable if I don't eat this or I don't do that. And I want you guys to be able to really think about what you want and make that happen. And if what you want is to say, yeah, I'm going to eat more that day, that's fine. Just do it with awareness and be intentional about it. Don't, show up to the family event and then just eat your way through it because you're uncomfortable and you don't know how to handle the uncomfortableness of it. That's really the key. It's not about what you eat so much as it is about how you feel. Because I've been to those holidays where I did end up stuffing myself and I was miserable. I didn't enjoy myself more because of it. If anything, I felt worse because then I felt bad that I couldn't control myself and that, I was using food as a crutch or whatever. But I just feel so relieved and so free now because I don't feel like food's controlling me. And I don't feel like even an uncomfortable situation would make me turn to food necessarily. I've had my moments, for sure, where I wanted to angry eat or stress eat, and I've just talked myself through them. And, thinking about situations ahead of time really, really helps. And I just want you guys to have the best holiday you can and not be filled with anxiety and stress and regret and resentment and all of that negative Nancy soup. I don't want you guys dealing with any of that. So the more you can think about your intentions ahead of time and then go and enjoy the day with your positive Patty brains on, it'll just be so much more enjoyable. The final thing I wanted to bring up was the day after Thanksgiving. For a lot of us, it means getting up at the crack of dawn and going shopping. But for others, it's basically stuff your face round too, because we've got tons of leftovers because we always make too much food, right? And we're tired from the hustle and bustle of getting ready for Thanksgiving in the first place. And maybe some of us are starting to put up Christmas decorations if we haven't already. So then it's like, oh, I don't have time to cook. I'll just, grab whatever. And again, back to the annoying phrase of it's just a holiday. You can remind yourself that, hey, Thanksgiving's over. I had my taste of whatever it was, and now it's time to get back to quote unquote normal eating. I mean, that's one strategy. The other strategy would be just to plan leftovers as part of your normal meals for the day and eat reasonable amounts and enjoy them. But don't make it another feast, and don't make it mean that you're doing something wrong because you're still eating Thanksgiving food. I could care less if you eat turkey and stuffing for a week after Thanksgiving. But what I do care about is how you're feeling, and if you're stuffing yourself for some other reason other than hunger, that's what I care about. And I think that's where people get in trouble, because they have Thanksgiving and then they think, oh, I've blown it, so I'll just continue to blow it until who knows when. New Year's. Maybe some people manage to get back on track the Monday after, but so often when you have that negative attitude of, well, I've already blown it, it just goes downhill from there, and you may never course correct, basically. So the day after Thanksgiving, spend some time reflecting on how your holiday went, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you might want to do differently on a future holiday. But don't beat yourself up. Don't use it as a time to kick yourself while you're down and say, oh, I shouldn't have eaten whatever it was, the second helping or the second piece of pie or whatever. Don't beat yourself up. Just look at it in a way that you can learn from it. Just think about what you liked and what you didn't, and what you can change for next time. That's it. No stress or punishment about it. And then if you are out shopping and running around and things are hectic, chances are you'll probably be eating out. And that's fine. It's totally fine. But again, keep your brain turned on. Don't get to the restaurant starving because you haven't eaten in 5 hours, 6 hours because you're busy shopping, and then you just shovel it in 5 seconds, and before you know it, your plate's empty. It's hard to do. When you get to hangry, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But being extra hungry doesn't mean you have to eat more food. It just means you waited too long. So that's a time where you need to be extra mindful about eating slow and really listening to your body. But the other thing is, if you know you're going to be out shopping, plan some snacks. Take a pack of nuts, throw in a protein bar, make sure you eat some really good protein and fat for breakfast so that you have the energy to sustain you. The last thing you want is, to have a headache and be shaky and jacked up on caffeine shopping. And then again, you just say, well, forget it. And then you just go to town because you think that'll make it better. I did it for years and years, and overeating doesn't ever make anything better. I used to try to use it as a fix for every problem in my life, and it doesn't fix anything. Honestly, overeating doesn't even fix hunger, because then it just makes you feel worse, because then you're stuffed and sick. So take it from me, from someone who's been there, done that a million times. The new way that I'm eating now is so much simpler and so much less stress. And it feels so much more natural and in tune with my body, but it just takes practice. So start practicing now and start really thinking about the holidays and that whole Thanksgiving week and Black Friday and the weekend following, just really think about how you want it to be and what steps you can take to make it a more enjoyable holiday and not a food fest that you end up regretting. I know if you've never approached the holidays that way, it can feel scary and hard, but I also know that you're 100% capable of it because I've been able to figure it out. And if I can do it, seriously, you guys, anybody can do it. You really, really can. So tell negative Nancy in your head that she needs to shut it up because Positive Patty is coming to town and she is going to help you get through this holiday in a way that you're going to love it. All right, you guys, until next time, remember, eat mindfully so you can lose weight and change your life.
Thanks for listening to the Not Really Hungry podcast. If you have any questions or comments, please email podcast@notreallyhungry.com or leave a voicemail at 330-595-4662. If you want to hear more from Not Really Hungry, check out the blog at notreallyhungry.com, where you'll find even more ways to eat mindfully, lose weight, and change your life.